So I forced myself to be creative for the month of January for 31 whole days. Well, technically 30 because one of the days I was bedridden with the flu, so I kind of had to do 2 jams in one day to make it 31 total jams. Anyways, I made myself be creative for the entire month. This was to kind of discipline me, kind of to prove to myself that I could do it, that I could have an idea and finish it. And there's that I'm trying to stop doing that. I did it. I finished making 31 jams, not just making the jams, but there's the but. Not just making the jams, but also uploading a video with said jams. And it was not easy. There were some days that were more challenging than others, where I only had about an hour to do things. And I had to do the best I could. The whole point was to exercise my ability to kind of perform with the music, not just making a beat, but kind of like performing with it with the hardware, and also to quickly improvise making sounds and beats. So what does that mean? All of the jams, except for the ones on the P6 using the stock sounds. I think there was a couple of them. I used stock drum sounds. And the very first jam, I used samples that I've just had on my Digitech. But essentially, all the jams, I was making the sounds on the fly. I would make the sounds, then I would build a jam around the sounds. And that's kind of been my workflow with working with hardware. And I wanted to be able to do that as quickly as possible and kind of be quick and efficient with it. And I do believe I achieved that goal, especially with the Syntakt. The Syntakt has become my favorite box out of the Electron boxes. In doing this exercise, I also wanted to kind of figure out a setup for the table. So the table is what's behind me, and it's the gear that I'm going to be using to make my next album. So I got one album already made for the most part. It's called Doodle Beats, and it's pretty much done. I'm going to be releasing it at the end of this week, which is the end of February. And I'm just doing kind of the finishing touches. Oh, the end of the song kind of just it trails off and then it kind of just cuts off abruptly. Or I turned down the bass way too much in this song. That's what I've been spending the month of February doing. So the month of January was learning how to jam with my gear, or getting more comfortable with jamming. The month of February is finishing these beats that I've had for the past 5 years. Kind of 6 for... I'll explain all that in a separate video. I'll go through the Doodle Beats album. I'll make that video at the end of the week, going through the tracks. But essentially, I want to be productive with my music this year. And that's how I'm doing it. Jamuary, finishing an album February. And then after that, it's going to be hunkering down, making the next album. And I already have the concept down, and I kind of already have a timeline of how I want to work on it. It's going to take me pretty much the rest of the year, and that'll make more sense as I explain that, but I'll explain that for a different video. Right now, let's just take a look at the table. Let me just walk you through this. Okay, this is the table. Bear with me here, all right? So here we have, in the back, we have a Roland S1, P6, and a mixer. All right, how is this all routed out? Okay, the S1 goes into the P6. P6 goes into the Digitone 2. Digitone 2 goes into the Syntact. Syntact goes into the Digitact. Digitact goes into the mixer. All right, it's that one right there. That, on this mixer, there's an alt out on those buttons at the bottom. I push that button, and the audio, instead of going into the master of the mixer, it goes out into the Octatrack. Then the Octatrack goes straight into the Analog Heat Plus Effects, and the Analog Heat Plus Effects goes into the master right there. All right. Now, I have 3 samplers on this table. This sampler is reserved as live sampling, live audio manipulation, so it's purely performative. These samplers I actually want to sample into for sound design. So how do I do that with this current setup? Do I unplug the alt outs of the Octatrack and plug it into there and redo all the... No. So this mixer also has a control room out, which is that little thing right there. I can change the control room out to the alt 3 and 4 out. So essentially, so I don't have a feedback loop. Whenever I'm sampling, I just won't have this going into the alt. It'll just go into the main out. And then the alt will go into the S1, because the S1 can have audio go through it. So it'll go through the S1 into the P6, through the Digitone 2, through to the Syntact, and then finally it'll land on the Digitact. Does all that make sense? Probably not. But that's how the audio is routed. And the S1, P6, Digitone, and Syntact, all of that audio, well, I'm gonna figure out it'll be on a track by track basis, but all of that audio is going through the FX block on the Syntact. Now I couldn't have it. I was debating whether I wanted the Digitact to go through the FX block or not, but I really wanted the ability to sample whatever I'm playing on this onto the Digitact. So in order for that to happen, I can't have the Digitact go back into the FX block. It'll just get, it's just a mess. So all of those synths go into the FX block. If I want to sample anything, like I got some, if I want to sample my Hydra synth or the Micro Freak or any of those Korg devices, if I want to sample any of that, or the bass or ukulele or something, I can sample that into, plug it into the mixer, sample it into the Digitact or P6. Oh yeah, I didn't even explain, so it might seem a little redundant, like what is the P6 even doing in this setup? So what's happening is the Digitact is controlling MIDI for the S1 and the P6. So I can do most of the controls through CC and MIDI on the Digitact using the MIDI channels at the bottom. So that's controlling that. I'm pretty much only using the P6 for the granular stuff. I I might use it for one shots here and there, but I got a digitakt for that. So we'll see. It all depends on what the songs call for. I got a lot of tracks to work with. Syntax going to be my drum machine. Digitone 2 is going to be a lot of the synth sounds. S1 is going to be a lot of pretty synth sounds. I got a lot of sounds to play with here. The digitakt is going to be taking care of risers and impacts and things like that. And the granular will be on the P6. All that's going to go into the Octatrack, where I'm going to do performative stuff, and then that'll go to the Analog Heat Plus Effects, which I could use as a sound design tool, which I don't know if I will or not. I would have to mess with the plugs if I wanted to do that, but it can make some pretty cool sounds with all the effects and everything on it. But right now I'm just kind of using it as an end of chain type situation. And all of that goes into that little, you can probably see the meters going, goes into that little audio interface behind the laptop there. And it gets onto the laptop. Look at that, it's recording the mic right now. And that's the table. That is what I have right now. I have a little extra attachment for the table right there on the ground, next to the upside down pocket operator and baby toys. I can attach that to the edge of the table here on that little corner, and I could put whatever over there. And yeah, that's my current setup right now. That is how I'm going to make my next album. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Album coming at the end of the week. I have a video going through the tracks. Thank you for watching.